What up, family? I'm Hannah Love. Thank you so much for having me too on this live. I'm really excited to talk about this. I am a mindset manifestation coach, a psychic, and a theta healing practitioner, and I help other coaches reclaim and reawaken their psychic and healing gifts and make bank doing it. And so I love talking about money and helping other healers and coaches and heart-centered coaches develop a healthier relationship with money, because I think as healers and as light workers, or whatever you want to call yourself, as an individual who is very loving and very caring, I think a lot of coaches, people who are very heart-centered, feel guilty for charging or for even raising their prices, because they have this subconscious or underlying feeling like, oh, I hope this person doesn't think I'm trying to scam them, or think that I'm only seeing them as a price tag and so forth. That's come up a lot with my clients, and they're like, well, I want to help everybody, but it's like, at the end of the day, you can't help everyone. And so those that are meant to be in your space and in your containers, and those that you're meant to coach, will magnetize to you and will align with you and your coaching services, because they feel that that deep connection with you.
Yeah, it's just like the great reminder that a lot of coaches forget sometimes that, or people forget, it's not a charity. Like, we do put out free content and information because we want people to grasp the basics of things, because we've all been there before. But remember, as a coach, you're going to have that money conversation with yourself. And if you're struggling with that money conversation, we're going to go over some things that we've experienced ourselves, again, as well as things we've experienced with seeing money as an exchange of energy, and why it's important to actually know your worth.
Exactly. And I always like to say too, like, you can't actually charge your worth because you're absolutely priceless. So like, when I choose my own prices, I go based on like an intuitive download, or I connect with the creator, the source within me, and ask, okay, what feels good and what feels aligned with me to charge for my services. So it's always something that feels in alignment with me and that feels good, not something that I feel obligated or that I have to do. And I've tried to, there's been times where I've set prices and like certain amounts per month for what I can do for other clients. And there's been a few times where I was like, actually, well, you can, I have been in that position where I did lower my prices, and I was like, actually, you can just give me this much a month, as long as it equates to this amount at the end. But at the end of the day, that's when you start to build that momentum in your business, and you are constantly getting clients and people asking you about your services and so forth. Like, it is so energy draining to have to like figure out like the PayPal payments for this person and that person and this person, and then you're like, holy shit, I have, like, I'm spreading my energy way too fucking thin. And even if you have like a personal assistant or virtual assistant, like, it's too energy draining to have to keep track of all these different payments, because you are trying to help this person out when you're actually weren't helping them. You weren't staying strong and firm in your boundaries or in your standards, or you weren't clear on your boundaries and standards. And so when you are clear on your boundaries and standards, and when you're in your integrity, you actually teach the other person to also, and that they are worthy and deserving of also being able to manifest in that abundance for themselves. But when you lower those standards for you, you're also teaching other people that it's okay to lower their standards. And I think it's also like a learning process too, because I had to do it a few times to see what worked for me and what didn't. And after doing it, and after like being burned out from trying to be like, okay, well, you can pay this much a month and this person do this much a month, I was like, nah, I gotta have some fucking queen boundaries and standards in my business. Otherwise, it's just an energy leak. And it's not just an energy leak financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and so forth. And so you can't show up as fully for your clients if you have all these energy drains.
True. Everything you do for your potential clients, again, bleeds into them and their future businesses and stuff like that. And I know we're in somewhat harsh times. So what a lot of people are coming to this mindset of being like, it's harsh times, I don't want to charge people this amount. But you all have to understand that when it comes to charging, you know, your worth and the investment that they're making, you need to forget, like, something my coach and mentors have gone over, Zion and Preston, is you need to understand that it's not about you. It's about them. It's about the investment that they're going to get in the future. It's about their transformation. And if you really, really want something, or if a client really wants something, they will make that stretch for it. Because when
Yeah.
you want a new car and you get a loan for it, you're making a stretch. When you want a new
Mhm.
house, you're making a stretch. People invest in these things all the time. People invest in clothes, they put things on layaway. If somebody desperately wants something, they will work for that item. If somebody wants to go on a vacation, you know, okay, next year I want to go to blah, blah, blah. The first thing you start doing is saving. So as a coach, there's no problem with letting the client know, hey, this is what it is. It's going to be this amount. I would need you to pay this deposit up front. If they cannot pay the deposit up front, you can still do a payment plan and say, okay, for the next 3 months, we'll pay off until you pay the deposit, and then we can start coaching. There's so many different ways to work things out with your clients, because I do understand, you know, if you had a $10,000 course, most people might not be able to pay 5 grand, but you also don't know that. So we need to stop assuming that these
Mhm.
potential clients and people can't afford it. Again, you've made an investment in yourself, you've had to stretch. So know that they will do the same if the transformation and the value of your course is worth it. If someone is not willing to stretch for your course, that might tell you something about your actual enrollment and discovery call technique. You have not shown them the value of what you have to offer. And a lot of people will take it as they can't afford me. Yes, maybe they can afford you, but maybe you're also not pitching to them something that's got value. On that topic of discounting, there are a lot of people that are doing free things. This is not to knock on someone that's doing free things, but to let you know that as a coach, if you offer something free, your clients are more likely to not be committed. An example is, if you were to go to like a job fair or somewhere out and about, or any type of fair, if you saw two booths, one booth was giving away free bags and the other booth made you pay $10 for something similar, I guarantee you the person that gives you the free bag, you're going to go home, you're going to put it somewhere in the corner of your house, and you're probably going to play with the pencil or pen at some point, and you won't look at the rest of the stuff. But the person that made you pay for it, you're always forever going to remember that you paid for that. So it's definitely important to remember, like, what people pay for, they're more committed to. One sec, we have a question. Please elaborate on how to show the value. Showing the value to your clients is kind of going through the step by step of the transformation. Some things a lot of coaches do is they try to drop everything on their client at once. They'll use so much spiritual woo woo, techno babble. You know, like I even talk with Hannah about it, like the theta healing and stuff. It's like you have to remember to talk to people at like a third grade level. In the spiritual community, especially, we understand things like Kundalini rising, Kundalini awakening. But if you're talking to someone that's brand new to it, try to explain things like releasing energy blocks. That's something they might understand. And then you'll say, when you release energy blocks, the value is you'll have more balance in your everyday life. You'll be able to show up present at work. You'll show up present as a coach. You're able to listen more. Those are the value things that people want. Again, a lot of people are focusing on like this end result of, if you take my course, you'll be happier. Honestly, no one gives a fuck about just being happy. People actually want to do something. It's like, I don't want you to just be happy. I want you to be happy so that you can actually get into a better relationship with yourself, or strengthen the relationship with your partner, or meet a new partner. So that's where the value thing comes in.
Mhm. And something I even learned from Tony Robbins and taking his different courses about sales and just getting to know people on a very deep level is he would always say your your quality of life is determined by the quality of questions that you ask. So when you're talking to a client and you're trying to show them the value and how you can really transform their life and create a lot of abundance in their life, you're asking them questions like, what is of value to you? What transformations do you want in your life? You know, and where have you been holding back in your life that has been costing you not valuing yourself and in not investing in yourself? Because if you don't invest in yourself, it's going to continue to cost you. You know, your relationships, your finances, your ability to show up as a coach and as a leader, and your ability to charge high ticket or to charge whatever amount feels in alignment with you. And so it's also about like getting to the you could getting to the point of what brings value to that person and what is it going to continue to cost them if they do not make the changes. So like for me, um, back in August 2019, I invested in my first coach for 6 grand and I had 50 cents in my fucking bank account. I had 50 cents in my bank account. So the fact that I had that 50 cents in my bank account was exactly why I needed a coach and to make that investment, because I had such a poor relationship with money. And because I grew up in a family where money was evil, or money was really, you had to work really hard to make a lot of money. And my mom raised me as a single parent once I was the age of 11 when my parents got divorced, and we would be basically living off credit cards and so forth. So I had so many like limited beliefs and just traumas and different conditions around money. But until I was able to actually really look at those beliefs, it wasn't actually as bad as I thought they were, until I was actually able to acknowledge them and acknowledge that I do need support and do need help. And it's okay for me to have support. It's okay for me to invest in my wisdom and my knowledge and for my own self-healing and self-help, because you can only help other people as far as you've helped yourself. And if you're not willing to take big investments that may feel really fucking scary at first, then why would other people make those investments in you? So I always say that your clients are a reflection of who you are, because otherwise you wouldn't have manifested them into your life. So the more that you value yourself, you value your worth, and you own the fuck out of your desires and your however much you desire to charge for your services. And when you can express those values and how you bring the value to the table pertaining to that certain individual, when you're intuitively speaking to them, then they will invest in you. And but people also want to know that you're going to support them, that you're going to, hold their hand the whole way through and like be like, "Hey, I'm here to help you create as much abundance and happiness and self-love and joy in your life as possible." Because we are
Indeed.
fucking limitless beings. We're worthy and deserving of our desires. But if we keep, you know, telling ourselves the old stories from the past, then we're just going to keep recreating the past over and over again.
That's definitely the pattern. And I know, like some people that know me, a lot of people don't know. I actually grew up in somewhat of a mystic community. I grew up in Japan since I was 11. I literally
Yep.
trained with mystics. I've trained with monks, and in those communities, there is no monetary value. People come into those environments, but there's something a lot of people don't know. There often is money that is donated to in those environments, so they're not worried about it. So me, I grew up having this problem where I had that issue with money. And I was like, how do I charge money for someone that taught me something for free? I
Mhm.
also remembered, like, for those of you that have Reiki certifications, yoga certifications, remember when you first started, you got your first one, and then you invested in yourself again, and then you invested in yourself again. Every time you invest in yourself, that means you're able to offer more of an outcome or a transformation for the people you're working with. So that
Yes.
goes in the topic of some people will charge a certain price and they're afraid to raise their price. Know that as you invest in yourself, you're going to eventually charge more. And again, going back to that whole charity talk, it's okay to do things for free. It's okay to post free content. Hannah and I both go live on our pages. We give out information. And I mean, I can talk for 10 minutes or I can talk for an hour. But at the end of the day, as a coach, you also have to realize that your needs also have to be met. If you're doing everything for free and you're not meeting your needs or you're discounting your prices, you're going to struggle more. I keep seeing these posts on Facebook where people say, would you rather have one client for 100,000 K, 10 clients for 10,000 K, 5 clients for 25? It's just like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you're charging. It really matters on your worth. If you're so focused on that like stereotype or what society's teaching and you have to do that, in my opinion, you're lost. Figure out for yourself, like sit down and be like, okay, this is the course I have. It's a 90-day course. I believe it's worth X, Y, and Z. It is okay if it is a beta course to charge less because you're learning, because you're not actually sure if your methods and techniques will work. That is something a lot of us do. You can say, okay, it's going to be 3,000 for 3 months. Cool. And then once you have like, 5 to 10 clients, you decide to raise the price, you can do it. And you don't have to fucking explain yourself to anyone. You don't have to
Yeah.
explain to anyone why your price changed. Your price
Exactly.
changed because the value has changed. I know I had that same question a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey, what do I do when you know, I've learned more and I've invested more in myself because I've been in two different coaching programs. So it's like, okay, I have this investment. Now I know I can offer a lot more. So again, don't be afraid to raise your prices. Don't be afraid to charge what you believe the actual value of your program is worth. Now, Zion, one of my mentors, told me, and it's probably one of the things that stuck with me for so long. If you're going to charge $10,000, you need to be able to solve a $100,000 problem. And I truly believe in that. If you're going to charge a lot of money, the value of that program better be worth it. And the value can be broken down into, for someone that's looking for a new job, hey, if you're someone that's a transformational coach with business and stuff, and you're going to charge $10,000, make sure that the value is towards helping them either get a raise in their job, which, hey, getting a $20,000 raise or 30,000 or $40,000 raise, it's cool. But think about it over the next 6 months, over the next
Mhm.
year, over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. That's what is included in your value. That transformation includes them being able to make this large leap and change for the next decade, even possibly. That's value.
Exactly. And I think it also comes back to like not comparing yourself to other coaches and their value and their programs and so forth. Like as being a psychic and as being a healer, I'm always teaching my clients and even myself like, okay, is this in alignment with me? Does this feel good for me, or am I comparing myself to someone else and I'm saying, "Oh, maybe I should charge that much, or maybe I should create this course, or maybe I should go live because of them." Like those are just obligations that we've created for ourselves because we're learning something from it. But you don't have to continue to learn those cycles of comparison just to know what your truth is. Like you already innately know what your truth is. You already know what you're worthy and deserving of. But it's just the limited beliefs and the old stories that we have been holding on to since childhood, that maybe, our father or your mother told you weren't good enough, or you're never going to make this amount of money, or you're always going to be this way. Like those are just the old stories that we tell ourselves that we don't have to keep choosing to believe in. We can choose to find support. We can choose to reach out to, mentors and coaches, so we can break free of our own limitations, so we can be limitless beings. Because at the end of the day, I always say that we are God consciousness having a human experience. And if we're God consciousness, that means we're abundant. We're all abundant. We all have equal access to this abundance at all times. It is the law of abundance. It's an actual universal law that we all have access to this at all times. So instead of like comparing ourselves or creating these obligations, or maybe I should do this, or I think I have to do this in order to be abundant and successful, asking yourself and going within, like, what feels aligned with me and my truth? What what value do I bring to the table? And sometimes people are undervaluing themselves and coaches because they don't actually take the time to write down the value and to focus and to realize the value that they do bring. And so I have this conversation with coaches sometimes, and then I ask them, okay, so what value do you bring to other people? And they list off all these different things. Or are you?
Yeah, I have my
Yeah,
stuff on a post-it note. Yeah, so to
yeah,
remind me.
and I'm like, "Holy shit, girl, like, you bring so much value, what are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess you're right, like, I never really, like, took the time to actually write it down or speak it into existence to realize how much value I actually bring." And when you can focus on that, because where intention goes, energy flows and it manifests. So the more you can focus on, holy shit, I do bring a lot of value, then when you do go to figure out how much you desire to charge for your services, it feels in full alignment because you have taken the time to be like, I bring all of this value, so of course I can charge this much. And so it feels in alignment with one another.
And on like the topic of like the actual amount that you're charging, and it's something I had to learn. If you've decided that your program, sorry, my nose, that your program is worth a certain amount, you actually have to practice saying that amount. I would recommend do not come up with a new price right before your discovery call or the enrollment call. Don't show up in the call and be like, I'm going to charge 10 grand. Because when you say it, they're not going to believe you. I promise you, they won't believe. I've had people do it to me before because I've been in discovery calls as well, and I didn't see the value in the course. And then when they pitched 10 grand, it's 10 grand. I'm like, you don't sound certain at all. Like, I'm not gonna fucking pay you 10 grand unless you actually believe your course. Like, if they actually believed it was worth 10 grand and I saw the value, I would pay it. So you have to be confident in it. And that's, you know, you saying it to yourself over and over, writing it down. I have two different sticky notes on my wall for the two different programs of the value that I bring to remind myself. And it's as simple as you literally sitting down and saying, okay, I am a blah, blah, blah coach or blah, blah, blah healer, and this is what I offer. Write it out. Okay, bam, I have it. And like niching down is a whole nother topic, but it's like, okay, I offer this. I offer people, again, being able to align in their energy. Aligning in your energy then branches off to these three things. This branches off to that. Figure out how far it branches off and then think, okay, most of the clients you speak to during your discovery calls, because it's all about urgency, you're getting them to realize, hey, how long has it been since you weren't able to fix this? And I've had so many clients, and a lot of people might think it's like, you're not going to believe when they hear it. Some people think these problems have been going on for like 6 months. Some of our clients have been struggling with this stuff for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, that they've wanted to realign their life, you know, get a better job, actually be able to just sit down and meditate. You're literally helping them for something that they've struggled with. So know that when someone also reaches out to you for a fucking discovery call or enrollment call, you need to honor that shit, because it's not easy. It's a very hard thing for some people to actually get on a phone call with you and dive deep and admit the stuff that's going on in their lives. It's
Yes.
hard for me when I first did. Like, the first time I actually had to open up to someone and tell them this is what I'm actually struggling with. But I realized I was doing it because I knew that I wanted to invest in myself. I knew I wanted to be here, and that's what the coach told me they could do. This is where you are. This is where you were. Here we are right now. This is what we're going to work towards. So yeah, know that
Mhm.
it's a sacred space when you have these conversations with your clients. So honor the fact that someone has taken the courage to talk to you and to open up and to dive deep. And that's why you have to be there. And when you are there for your client in the discovery call, they will see that that's the type of coach you are. If you're the type of coach that gets on the call and you're like, yeah, it's gonna be cool. What's going on? Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. 3 grand. They're gonna see that you just fucking care about money. If you can't hold
Mhm.
the space for them
Yeah.
in the discovery or enrollment call, they're definitely gonna know you can't do it when you're actually working and coaching together. Your discovery and enrollment call is literally your trial for your coaching. That's not to say that you're going to coach them. You do not coach in the discovery call, but you do show that you are able to hold that space, hold that container, to show that you can hold them accountable, because that's what coaches do. We hold people accountable for their commitments. So remember that.
Mhm. I love I just and it's also too about like coming into the coaching call with the intention like I'm here to serve this individual at the highest and best, and connecting to source, connecting from within and being like, okay, how can I best serve this person by, being attentive, by being aware, by really listening to them and their needs. And when people really feel supported and they feel that they can trust you, like there's a huge difference that you can tell, and their heart starts to expand and they start to feel very comfortable with opening up to you. And like you were saying, like it's so important for people to know that they can open up to you and that they can trust in you. But if you're going into it like just like, oh, I hope I make a sale, oh, I hope I make some money, blah blah blah, people can fucking feel that energy. So it's all about like serving at the highest and being like, is this a is this in alignment with me, and is this in alignment with this person, because you're making a commitment to work with this person for so and so months or a year or however long your services are. So it's about really building that trust and that relationship and that confidence within each other too, so you can continue to move forward and build a really healthy relationship, because coaching is a relationship, especially if you're working one on one. And so you want to create a container and a space where people can really open up to you and feel comfortable opening up to you too. And I think you do an amazing job of that also, because I see your posts too a lot, and like people are opening up and sharing. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Vulnerability is definitely one of the hardest things, or one of the hardest hurdles I think for most coaches to get over. As a coach, you've literally been through some stuff in your life. And the reason why you became a coach is because you have this divine fucking medicine that you know can help other people. But in order for other people to see it, sometimes you have to be vulnerable. And that means you have to dive deep. You have to share your story. That's why when I go in my videos, I'm very quick to be like, hey, this is what I went through. I know what it's like. And I'm not doing it to just be like, don't worry, I know what it's like. I can help you. No, I need you to know that I'm fucking vulnerable as shit. I will admit to my darkness. I will admit to my light. That's why I have no shame in telling people I used to be a soldier. Yes, I was in the military. I've done horrible things on behalf of what I thought was right. It happened. It's my past. I just tell people I am the same guy. I just have a different vibe. My life has changed and I know what I have to offer. So, again, if you're not willing to be vulnerable with your clients, know that sometimes it's going to make it harder for them to open up and be vulnerable with you. You have to show them that you are nurturing. As a coach, you literally are. You're like their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle, their grandma, their grandfather, their best friend. That is the relationship you build. You have this relationship where you connect with them, but not to the extent of being like, hey, let's hang out every single day, because that's where the boundaries come up, like Hannah was talking about before. And I love that you have really great boundaries. And boundaries are important. Something I've learned in coaching is that whatever you're struggling with, it's probably coming up in other aspects of your life.
Yep.
I tie everything to your personal life, your spiritual path, and your business goals. If you're struggling with boundaries in your business life, as far as like boundaries with clients, you're probably struggling with them in your personal life. You're probably struggling with them in your spiritual life. So remember, these three aspects of your life are very well connected. If you are having the money conversation, you have problems with it in your business life because of spiritual beliefs. Think about where it's also coming up in your personal life. Are you experiencing that? On a personal level, would you tell someone, hey, can I buy that from you? This is how much it costs. You probably won't have that problem in your business, especially if you practiced it over and over and over in your head. So remember, it's progression over perfection.
Hmm. I love how you were talking about like talking about it to yourself in person, because I've even done that even in the mirror where I'm just literally
Same.
talking to myself about like
Yeah.
what value I bring, my prices and everything. Because you gotta sometimes you gotta be your own hype man. Like you gotta
True.
hype yourself up and be like, fuck yeah, I got this. I am totally worthy and deserving of this.
You have
Because
to be
like
uncomfortable.
yes, exactly. And like the more like when tracing back to the vulnerability, the more vulnerable that you are and you share with people that, hey, I've been there, I've been through something similar as you, they are more comfortable in opening up to you. Because I've had mentors like several years ago in the past where they had this like superiority complex where it is almost like they had never gone through anything,
Yeah.
like it was just like it was wrong for me to feel the way I felt.
Mm.
And I was like, why is this person my fucking mentor? Like I don't really relate to them. Yeah, maybe I had desire. It was more like an ego desire, like I want to be spiritually where they are on this path. But even at the same time it was like, well, if they can't even be open and vulnerable with me, then I don't feel as comfortable sharing my entire life with them if they can't even do that the same for me. And
Yeah.
so I've always like when I've chosen my mentors and my coaches, it's always been from a place of alignment, and that feels really good now that I have this awareness instead of like my younger self, that if you're going to be working with someone long term, that it should be someone that you really feel a deep connection to and that you can trust and that can be fucking vulnerable with you.
No, it's definitely. I think a lot of people will ask me just on the spiritual side, how do I know the difference between intuition and fear? And I tell people it's trial and error. Like, there's not going to be like this divine knowing where you're like, nope, I know. Sometimes it is fear, sometimes it's intuition, but you won't learn to trust your intuition and your spirit until you've made the mistake of not listening to your intuition and spirit. And I have made that mistake many a time, and it fucking happens. But I've learned from it to where I know, okay, and it's that gut feeling you have where when I've had coaches that will talk to me and I'll be like, oh, okay. Okay. And deep down inside of my head, I'm like, you only care about the fucking money. Like, you don't even know what
Mhm.
you're talking about. Just like I've had people message me on Facebook or Instagram and they'll be like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? And in my mind, based off of how the conversation's going, I'm just thinking, just go ahead and pitch the shit that you want to pitch to me so I can say no because you actually don't know anything about me. And somebody was like, I really, really love your posts. I love all your posts. And I said, cool. What about my post resonated with you? And they were like, just the whole thing, your whole page. And I'm like, yeah, but specifically, what's one thing you took away from it? And they were like, no, I mean like the consistency of the post. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, fuck off. And I was just being honest. Like, as a coach, if you're going to be talking to clients, you're going to be out there looking for people, you actually have to fucking pay attention to what people are doing. Like, I actually pay attention. I engage. Someone asked me why I have so much engagement on Facebook. It's because I fucking engage back. There are so many people right now on social media that you post something and people engage with you and you don't respond whatsoever. That makes you look super egotistical. That's just me being honest. And I don't engage with people because I want everyone to be a client. I don't really ever pitch to anyone about doing it, you know? So just know that engagement is a two-way street. If you want people to notice you and you want people to know who you are, you have to engage with them. And that doesn't mean, you know, going on someone's page and being like, nice photo. Hey, guess what? I'm a coach, blah, blah, blah. If it's your first interaction, like get to know them first. Find out something about them. Like you can wait a week or 2 weeks or a month, but you definitely have to engage with people. Someone asked me about influencers, and I have free influencers. And I say that because if you look at every post you've ever posted, most of the people that are posting, if you engage, there's at least 3 people on your list that are engaging in everything. And they engage on your Facebook, they engage on your
Mhm.
Instagram, and most of you fuckers ignore them. You ignore them because you think they're not my potential client, they're never going to be able to help me, they don't have the money. One, that's ego. Two, it's fucked up. But three, you're missing out on a great opportunity because they're engaging with you because they believe in your message. They believe in what you're saying and they support you 100%. For the most
Mhm.
part, they are also sharing your content with their friends and family. And every time they share something of yours on their page, you're literally expanding yourself to possibly 200 to 500 or 3,000 people you would never meet on your own. So engage with the people that are nice to you. I had one person that literally, for I think the whole year I was in Peru, was always sharing the stuff that I put out, always sharing it. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something for him. And I'm like, hey, we're gonna do 3 sessions together. And she's like, I can't pay for it. I was like, I don't need money for it. Like, you've literally shared so much of my stuff. I've grown on social media because of her. So that was my way of showing gratitude. There's nothing wrong with that. And I did. We did 3 sessions and she shared even more stuff. And now she's also a coach, which is awesome. And I get to work with her still. So just know, like, take advantage of the people, not take advantage, but work with the people that have always been there for you because they will help you. They are your influencers, just like we all help each other. You know, if I see something of Hannah's and I really like it, I got no problem sharing it. There are so many people, coaches specifically, that think that we're all in competition. I am not competing with anyone. I
Mhm.
don't compete with Hannah. I don't compete with anybody else on social media. What you have to offer is your divine medicine. Source, God, Spirit, whoever you believe in, has given you that gift. They have taught you a specific way. You offer that medicine. Hannah and I could both talk about theta healing. I don't know shit about theta healing, to be honest. But when it comes to us going live, she might say something that resonates with mostly males, and I might say something that resonates with mostly females, or vice versa. Just know it's not a competition because the way you deliver your medicine is different. You know, Hannah might be the person that's all about like she puts her medicine in a needle and she's ready to jab it into your arm. I might be the person that gives you like a pill, and then someone else might be the person that has like a liquid version. Just know there's different ways of getting the same message across. So it's not a competition because we're all here in service.
I love that you said that. Thank you so fucking much because I see it a lot like when I've come across different other brands and entrepreneurs and coaches and so forth talking about your competition is this, your competition is that.
Mhm.
But there are what, 8 or 9 billion people in this fucking world now?
Yeah, I hear the
Like
competition.
every person has at least a fucking million clients for themselves if they
Yeah.
want it. You really want a million fucking one-on-one clients?
No.
Like no, but your clients are already yours.
Mhm.
They're already yours. The divine has already made a divine plan that these soulmate clients desire your medicine and that you're going to best guide them and help them on their path. Otherwise, they wouldn't be your clients. And everybody has clients, but once you start to own your value and your worth and fuck all the competition and understand that we're all in this together, then you can start to magnetize your soulmate clients to you with ease and with effortlessness. And it's not something that you have to fight over or to compete with somebody else. Because I've even had this before when I started my coaching journey. I had I had to let go of a relationship because someone was upset that I was a coach because she had just started becoming a coach. And there was that like competition there. I was like, yeah, but why can't we do this together like a family as one? And it had been a like a pattern that had been coming up in my life quite a bit with competition. And it's learning how to love other people, to have compassion for ourselves and other people, and to build that community and that connection without the competition, and to understand that sometimes our ego selves wants to separate ourselves from other people and be like, we only have the magic, you know, it's only us. Yeah, yeah, like you have to have the wisdom, the discernment of how and when to be independent and how
Mhm.
and when to be interdependent, because you wouldn't have a fucking business if there wasn't other people in this world. You wouldn't even have a business because there would be no one to invest in your services.
We're
Like
not the
we're all
founders.
exactly, we all have magic and wisdom to share with one another. And if we look at it as like us being one big family, then we can all rise together in this unity consciousness and create that abundance. So, like, bringing it back to like charging your services. When you charge a certain amount for your services, then you're inspiring your clients to do the same. And then those clients are inspiring their clients to do the same. And then it just creates this ripple effect, and people are just becoming abundant and abundant and abundant. And it creates abundance for everybody.
I've definitely learned in the topic of charging and comparisons. I've had a few people that will literally bring up at some point in the conversation, well, Hannah and I started at the same time, but Hannah's making 10,000 and I'm only making 5K. Then I asked, well, what has Hannah done to invest in herself? I don't know. Yeah, that's right. You don't fucking know because you don't know what any other coach has been through. And it's not just investments. Just because you see that someone got a yoga certificate, a Reiki certificate, theta healing, or any type of investment they've made in themselves, that still does not mean you have any clue what they've been through in their life, especially for someone that's over 30. That means you have no idea what's happened in the last 30 years of their life, starting with day zero. I would say 1 to 0. So stop comparing yourselves to others. If a coach that you know raises their prices, don't raise your price because they raised yours, because that doesn't reflect your value. That doesn't reflect your transformation. That person is doing what they're doing because they believe that's what the value of their worth is. Now, on the other hand, it's just like couples. A lot of times people see someone and they're like, oh, Hannah's charging 15K. Fuck, I want to do that too. That doesn't mean that Hannah's making 15K per person. It just means she's charging 15K. So, like in a relationship, people see people and they're like, oh, they're so happy. They're living the best life. Every time we go out, whenever Hannah and Khadaura go online, they're always so positive and stuff. That doesn't mean that Hannah and I don't go whenever we're apart and doing our own thing that we're not sad. Like, we have our
Yeah,
moments where you're just like, fuck, I didn't do anything today. I didn't reach out to anyone. Like, we all have those moments. So it's
yes.
okay to just be like, oh, this sucks.
Mhm.
Nothing's going to be perfect. Also, I think I was going to tell someone about like a client that I had 2 days ago brought up their job. It is okay for you to work a part-time job and to be a coach and a spiritual healer. You do
Yes.
not have to leave your job to just like run with it. You can literally build into it, you know, continue with your part-time or full-time job, and start doing your coaching and start learning and start bringing in clients and start growing and start building a reputation for yourself. And when you are ready, then you make that leap over. That leap requires you to stretch and push yourself now. Don't wait 20 fucking years to be like, okay, now I think I'm ready. It might be
Yeah.
too late. It might be too late. I can say it's too late, but yeah, like you have to take that leap at some point. But don't think that you have to give up everything you have right now, because there are some people that there's coaches that are making, you know, $50,000 a month that would be like, you need to quit your job now. If you don't, you can't be fully committed to it. A lot of people fail that way because they don't have a plan. Make a plan for yourself. Okay, I have this part-time, full-time job. I'm going to save up money so that I can take care of myself for the next 6 months. So that if I do drop out now, I can still afford rent. I can still afford my car, gas, and all that stuff. So no, you don't have to make the leap right away. Again, it's okay to have a part-time job and work and switch over when you're ready.
Mhm. Exactly. I'm gonna look through these comments and see if anyone's asked anything.
Yeah. I don't see too many questions, just lots of heart. I love hearts. Thanks, guys. I see I don't
Mhm.
know, it's so inspiring when you see all like the hearts and thumbs up pop up. It's like I feel like the Grinch sometimes. I know people might not see that because I'm like super cheerful and stuff all the time. Just with my military background and growing up, like I didn't know love again, like most people might know love. So love for me is just sharing with people. So when people share these things, I get super excited.
Mhm. It's not showing me the comments for some reason.
See
Has
them.
anyone asked questions?
I
It's
I I I just got that one question that we answered.
oh, okay,
And
cool.
accolades for engaging because engagement's such a big thing on social media. You guys need to realize that, that's one of the first things a lot of the coaches that I've worked with, they bring it up is engagement. Engage back with people, say hi, ask people how they're doing, and don't just fucking do it because you want them as a client, because they will know. People will know if you're talking to people and just trying to shove your services down their throat. I've had people tell me that, like, hey, thanks for not trying to shove it down my throat like most people do. If I feel like, hey, you're reaching out, if I post a video and you respond with fire because that was my call to action at the end, and you drop the fire, the prayer hands, or the love, then I will reach out to you. If not, I'm not going to be like, hey, Hannah, I was watching your video. You look depressed as fuck. Let me coach you. Because one thing I also noticed is like I'll have people that are coaches that would reach out to me and I would look on my messenger thing and be like, oh, that's funny. The last message that went through was like 6 months ago when I asked you how you were doing and you obviously read it and didn't respond. People and potential clients look at this stuff. They look to see if you've actually engaged with them in the conversation or if you engage with them in their comments and stuff. This doesn't mean going through all 3,000 of your Facebook friends and be like, hi, nice shirt. Hi, I love your dog. Hi, your house is nice. Great vacation. But like, do it because you actually want to comment on these things.
Exactly. And when it feels in alignment, because we also don't have to always be engaging or always messaging people, because we also want to have like the discernment and like the boundaries of how and when, and doing it from a place of when our cup is filled, and then engaging with them and being like, okay, I'm in a good place to be able to like just reach out to them and have a conversation with this person instead of like feeling that obligation to. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. I would love to answer some questions.
And Hannah did
Um,
something before we went on, sorry to interrupt you, about clearing your space, because that's also something important. Before you jump on a call with a client, before you
mhm,
message a client, potential client, before you start working with your client, you need to clear your space. You need to let go of anything that's holding you back, let go of your anger, because a lot of coaches don't realize, and you might do it unconsciously or subconsciously. You need to realize whatever is going on in your life right now when you jump onto a call or you jump into a session with someone, that pours out and it does subconsciously. You're going to be saying things to them based on your experiences, which can often, because you haven't healed from it, you're going to put that on them and they may feel like they can't heal from it. So clear your space. If you have to say a meditation, if you have to burn sage or Palo Santo, if you have to burn a candle, again, meditate, deep breaths, whatever you have to do, but always clear your space before engaging with anybody.
exactly.
Red just
And
Palo Santo.
getting grounded too is a huge one. I'm always like getting grounded and doing like a meditation beforehand, because you want to be able to like show up fully for that individual. There last week, I ended up being like, okay, like we're gonna have to reschedule because I was not feeling well. Like I had a migraine, and I was like, to be honest, I'm not gonna be able to show up fully for you feeling this way. And they were totally understanding about it. And like people are gonna fucking understand if you're just honest, and again, like authentically, we were talking about earlier. And like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you were like out of integrity, because I had that thought. I was like, does this mean I'm out of integrity? And does this mean like this and that? And it's like, no, it doesn't have to mean anything. You don't have to feel guilty for it. You can just see it through the eyes of source and see it as you actually helping other people, because you are going to be able to create that space in the future to fully show up for them too. Which again, like you were saying, like everything you do in life has this greater connection. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you show up fully for yourself and for other people, this is going to affect your relationships, it'll affect your business, it'll affect your bank account, It affects, you know, your overall feelings of worthiness, feeling grounded, feeling centered, knowing your worth, knowing your value, and like being able to fucking hype yourself up and being able to feel good. Yeah, and being able to fucking also check yourself before going into calls, or even check your own triggers, even before working with clients and so forth, or even during too. Because again, like you were saying, like even as coaches, we're not perfect beings. Like we have our own stuff too that we're working through. That's why we do the inner work every day. Otherwise, if we weren't doing the inner work every day, like how are we going to be showing up for you, for other people?
This is why it's important to remember as a coach that what you're doing with working and with other clients, it's not about you. It's 100% about them. So if you're a coach and before you go into a session or you jump on a discovery call or an enrollment call, you need to forget this shit. It's not about you. None of this is about you. It's about what you offer, but it's 100% about them. And that's why you have to clear your space and be present. You have to be present because you have to be able to listen to what they're saying. Like Hannah said, if something's going on in your life, if you just got out of a relationship or you and your friend had a horrible fight, if you're not able to be in that space with that client, just let them know, hey, there's some stuff going on in my life. I can't be there fully present for you. I am 100% sure 99.9999% of your clients will understand that. You might get that one person that doesn't understand, which they probably aren't your ideal avatar anyways.
Yeah.
But just let them know because you need to be fully there for them. You need to be able to listen to everything they're saying. And if they bring up something that triggers you, understand that that's something you have to work on. Even as coaches, we do it. There are times where I'll be in a session with someone and they'll say something outside of what I'm used to dealing with, and I'll be like, oh man, I never dealt with that myself. And I'll start thinking of ways I can deal with it, and I'll offer that advice. But I also go work on that shit myself after the session. I'm like, yo, I need to
Yep.
actually go work on this because it's something you need to invest in. There's no coach that's like a master coach that doesn't still have shit going on in their life. Like this journey of self mastery is never ending. You can be a master, but you're still always going to be a student. And the reason why I love working with people is because I'm always relearning things and remembering things again, things that I forgot about. Or they'll say something and I'll offer advice, which is why I love channeling the divine energy and the divine message. There have been so many sessions I've been in where someone said something and I shit you not, I just blurted out all this stuff for like 10, 15 minutes. And then after the session, I'm like, I don't know where the fuck all that stuff came from. I need to write all this shit down, which is why sometimes it's good to record your sessions, but get permission first. But just know that sometimes they're going to just channel stuff. There's going to be things that come up that you yourself are not used to answering. And your divine medicine comes through and you speak because you're channeling it. And afterwards, you're like, oh, yeah, I need to take notes. Again, it's important for you to remember that you're also going to be learning from yourself just as much as your clients.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, because I always say again, like your clients are a reflection of who you are. And when you invest in yourself and you invest in your value and your worth, you're not just healing you, you're healing other people. And so when I'm working with my clients, I am so grateful for my clients because they're actually also helping me heal too, and they help me have realizations. So like everybody seriously has magic. Everyone seriously has fucking medicine. That's why there's no such thing again as competition, because we're literally all helping each other heal and we're all bringing value to each other. So like when I'm working on clients, I have so many realizations and I'm learning too more about people and about beliefs and emotions and thoughts and all these different things that I'm learning just by working one-on-one with people. So I'm like, thank you for also contributing, because when you also contribute in a coach and so forth, you're also like helping them learn too. And so I'm really grateful for my clients. And then you're also helping them learn and unleash more of their gifts and their talents that we all innately have. We just forget, like you're saying, like sometimes we just forget. And so we have these beautiful reminders within these containers and from our fucking awesome, badass clients. Like, I just fucking love working with people.
I love it because it goes there's so many different avenues as a coach of learning. So most of us coaches, we have coaches. And it's like my coaches have coaches and so on. So when
Yeah.
I had signed up for the last program for 6K, the first thing that came to my and within the second week, I realized like the shit that they've been through, like they invested $300,000 in themselves, which means I'm getting $300,000 worth of knowledge for X, amount of money, which is great.
Exactly.
So you have that high, I would say that higher up scale of knowledge where they're teaching you things, not to say they're smarter than you, but they know shit that you don't know yet. So you're learning from their mistakes, their lessons as well. Then I have like the downward spiral of like knowledge where it's like I'm learning from my students. I'm telling my students things, they're telling me what's coming up, and I'm learning, being like, oh yeah, that's something I actually forgot about. And then on that note, you have the sideway peer thing. Myself and Hannah, I'm learning from Hannah. Hannah's learning from other people. Like all of us coaches are learning from each other, and we're learning from each other because we fucking collaborate. If you're someone that has a program, I'm not saying you have to go tell someone, Theta Healing, this is my entire program. These are all my steps, because you don't want someone to steal it, which I can understand. It's your divine medicine. But people need to stop being afraid to collaborate with other people. I love going live with other coaches because, again, I know everyone has different medicine. And I'm glad to be on my timeline sharing stuff, because I know there's going to be people on my timeline that don't know Hannah that are going to be like, holy shit, she said something I've never heard before. And if they go work with Hannah, I'm fucking happy. I've never lost a client to someone else. They were never my potential client to begin with. I had someone comment, I posted something once, someone commented, two people were having a conversation in the thread, and the coach wrote me a message and said, hey, I'm very sorry, but I might end up working with this person. We scheduled a call. I was like, why are you sorry? And she's like, because it was your thread. And I'm like, it's not my thread to like reel in everyone. I'm not going to reel in everybody. Not everyone is my ideal client or my avatar. So if you're a tantric person, which I don't really practice tantric healing alchemy as much, go ahead and work with that client. That's your medicine. The reason why I bring up all these posts, I post so much stuff to get people to engage, because I want you to all see who's out there. I want you to know that this person does that, this person does that. I don't do it all. I would never ever say that I could do it all. So again, do not be afraid to collaborate with people. You're not in competition. You're actually helping one another grow.
Exactly. Yes. Hugging you, hugging everyone
Yes,
in this
everybody,
container.
hugging everybody. Fuck yes.
Amazing. Oh, I want to see what everyone's saying because I haven't looked at it in a minute.
They're saying yes to collaboration, which is awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
collaborating is beautiful. You can learn so much from others, and it's
Mm-hmm.
free.
Right. I've been wanting more collaborations too, but it's been all happening in divine timing. Been very grateful. Very, very grateful. Thank you so much too for hosting this live. It's been
Awesome.
amazing.
No, this has been really good. We'll probably close it out. I didn't want to, one last thing, like I just want to remind people as far as like clients. When Hannah was talking about things like overflowing, also know that boundary and cap of what you can take as far as clients go. I've met a lot of people that are like, oh, I want 10 clients. And I say, cool, you want 10 clients, but ideally, can you actually work with 10 clients? And a lot of people think they can, but it's not as easy as you think, especially if you're meeting with them weekly, which is what some people do. If you're meeting with clients every single week for 13 weeks, which is a 3-month program, and you have 10 clients, you're probably going to burn yourself out, especially if they have access to you all the time. So again, it all comes back down to boundaries. Make sure your clients know how often they can contact you. Make sure you know how many clients you're willing to take on. That is something very crucial to your work as a coach. Know your boundaries. Again, if you're having trouble with your boundaries, whether they be money, whether they be how many clients you take on, creating the boundary for the clients. If it's an enrollment call, you need to know your boundary of being like, hey, that question that you're asking me is more of a coaching container type question. I won't be able to answer that now, but I could go into detail in that container. So you have to be able to put those boundaries up. If you can't put them up in your business, you're probably not putting them up in your personal life or your spiritual life.
Yep. And even in your bank account.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. I love that you said that too, because that's something that I like was fluctuating in, and I was kind of dabbling with like, okay, what feels good for me, what doesn't. And instead of like instead of doing it the way I did, but I learned from it, instead of like booking out a lot of clients, starting out with a few, seeing how that feels, and then adding more clients to the schedule within that week instead of like booking all of them at once in one week. Because again, you want to be able to fill your cup up so you can go out and help those clients, because again, it's about helping those clients have a massive transformation. It's not about you at the end of the day. well, it's about you in the sense that, you got to be present, you got to be grounded, you got to be feeling good so you can show up for them. So, like, it's even too about having clarity about how many clients that you're able to hold in your containers. So I suggest like starting out with a few and then seeing how that feels, maybe add another one and another one and so forth until you find your vibe and what feels good for you.
'Cause a lot of people are quick. Like I'm seeing it now. A lot of people are quick to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a group program." A group program can be very overwhelming, especially if you
Yeah.
don't put a cap on it. I've seen a lot of people that are like, "I'm gonna do a group," and you end up with 30 people, and then you get 30 people on your Zoom, and you're trying to answer all these questions, and now you have 30 people that want to work with you, and you're excited because you're like, "Oh, it's awesome! I charge $1,000 per person for 3 months. I can do it." You're gonna burn yourself the fuck out, especially if you're doing one-on-ones. That will overwhelm you. So like take Hannah's advice. Start with like your one-on-ones. Do a client, have a third client, fourth, fifth, sixth, see how that works out. If you decide to do a group, just start with a small container. Hey, I have 10 slots available. Work with 10 people and see how that works for you, and then grow from there. Please do not jump into doing group things if you're not used to doing a lot of one-on-one clients, because again, Hannah was saying, you'll burn yourself out energetically, and that will flow into your personal life. You'll just be drained all day. You won't be motivated or inspired. You're going to also probably take on a lot of their stuff if you're not used to clearing what people drop on you. So again, clearing out your space. And then business wise, you're going to be super drained. You're going to be like, I need an assistant. So now you're hiring an assistant. And then you got to think, how much are you paying that assistant? Are you going to be losing a lot of money? Are you going to overwork your assistant? Because your assistant might be like, this is too much shit for me to deal with. So again, start small and grow from there. Again, we want to thank everyone that jumped on here. It's a blessing to have you all on here. Sending you much love and these deep vibrations. As I always say, to always be number one to yourself, because everything is mind, body, and soul.
Do you
As
do like
far as like that trinity of your life goes, number one, two, yourself. So just forming that triangle. You got it.
um,
Because it's mind, body, soul, and then everything being done in spirit. So yeah.
you're awesome. All of you are amazing. Thank you. I love you guys so much. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Everyone, this is that moment. Don't worry, I'm not gonna cry.
Peace out, y'all.
Yeah.